Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome back to Planet FPL Clash of the Correspondents. And this one is going to be particularly important for those who have a wild card still in their pocket. Firstly, let me introduce you to our Newcastle United correspondent. It's Simon Bibby. How are you, Si?
Doing fantastically well. Thanks, James. Nice to see you again, Johnny.
You at home or away, Si?
Um, am I at home or away? At the moment, I'm away at work. That's what you meant.
Well, yeah. I mean, your home form's better than your away form, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
As we just said
Uh,
off camera, you can borrow some of my away results if I can take some of your home results, I think. And our Manchester City correspondent, Jonny Pringle's in, and Manchester City are back to being my second favourite team in the Premier League. How are you, Johnny?
Yeah, good. Thanks, James. Thanks for having me on again. Good to see you as well, Si.
Good man. All right, Si, what's going on? 12 points so far, three victories only against teams that are below you in the Premier League. The away form's been very much well documented. What's going on, mate?
well, I've not looked at the Premier League table, so since the start of the season, so you'd have to tell me who's above and below beneath us. It feels eerily similar to like a couple of years ago where I've said it before in this podcast about how in one game a week Eddie, and I don't know whether he's like overthinking it with these 2 games a week and finally listen to his backroom staff about player workload, but we're definitely not hitting our away games with the same intensity that is required at St James's Park. You can't get away with the lackadaisical performances that we put in away from home at home. I mean, the truth is, this is going back to last season now. This away form has been particularly worrying. And it feels like it's been compounded with having these big Champions League nights and the new format of the Champions League allowing us to have some nice home games as well. I think the schedule has not been too kind. Even the home games we've had a couple of like big ones that have resulted in losses. And when that happens at the start of the season, you kind of need to pick up some good results away from homes. It's not happened yet. I'm sure we'll get into like all of the players and stuff, but yeah, Howe definitely has some answers or some questions to answer around his like selection and substitution patterns and what happened with Dan Burn at the weekend in particular. That was a real head scratcher.
What do you mean about the head scratcher? What, the fact that he didn't take him off, or
I mean, he got booked and he was getting rinsed playing left back, and it seemed like an obvious one with Hall on the bench that he would come in for at least 30. You want to be start building his minutes up. Um, and he should have come off like earlier than he did, and that led to like the penalty decision and then everything else and the red card, and it all just seemed to kind of like spiral from there. And taking like Tonali off when he did with the kind of the mass rash substitutions just felt very strange, and it felt like one of those games where he kind of like lost control of it early and didn't really know how to get it back. And it's the second game in a row, more worryingly, that we were winning and then went in at halftime ahead and just threw it away in the second half.
is there an element of feeling amongst the Newcastle fan base that it might have hit its ceiling with Eddie Howe specifically? I.e., it might not get better than last season, for example.
Uh, It depends what our ambitions are for this season. If it is to win a cup again and pick up form in the second half of the season and push for a Champions League place, then if that is what the expectation is inside the club and outside, then Eddie Howe, what is the alternative that's going to produce better than that? The question mark for me now is with this Isaac money and the buffer that we've got for PSR in the next 3 years, is now potentially the time to go big on a manager that has the capacity to spend in the next couple of seasons. I'm a big Eddie Howe fan. I just feel like from a league perspective, like the attitude has not been there for a team that is trying to do anything apart from potentially get back into the Champions League and win a League Cup again.
By the way, that's still absolutely viable this season. Fifth is almost certainly going to be enough for Champions League the way the English clubs have started in Europe, and you're 6 points behind that, mate. So, and no one kind of in that region outside, I guess the expected top four is particularly pulling up any trees, mate. So, you can
Mm.
still make a great season out of this, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
Johnny, do you still view this as, well, I say still, I'll rephrase that. Do you view this as one of the toughest games of the season?
Yeah, I think so. Newcastle away. Yeah, tough fixture, especially evening fixture under the lights when they've had a few beers.
Yeah, it's 5:30 kickoff. Is this ideal, Si? You're almost better off having this fixture than a, I don't know, a routine home game that you would definitively expect to win.
I'm not sure about that. I think I'd rather just have another away game, to be honest, and see if we can
What, to fix it quickly
to
or
yeah, like, and keep playing away games until we sort out what the issue is. I think the half the problem is like we know how to play at home, we know what the crowd expects, and we don't really have an issue when it comes to like these big games and trying to get up them. We've had an issue with not conceding last minute uh goals and turn them into losses, but no, for me, like the home form is the home form, and I'd expect certain players to perform well from a fantasy perspective, even in this fixture, but it's the away form that, we kind of almost need to address by playing games. I don't know how else we can improve that without the just like opportunities to play. So yeah, for this game, I'd say like City's always a tough one. Always feels like, particularly with this current squad, that would they kind of will give you a chance, and particularly the way that we play, I think Eddie kind of knows how to set the team up and quite confident, to be honest.
I had a look at you on a talking tactics piece I did last week. So my kind of biggest takeaway from it was there's a creativity problem in terms of
Yeah,
creation of chances. Would you agree with that at the moment?
definitely not creating the volume of chances. And if you look at like even Walter Made, he's like been a great signing for us and fits in really well. Is he a number nine, or is he more like naturally someone that would like play in behind, which you're not going to get in like an Eddie Howe system? Like I don't think he's going to switch midway through the season. Maybe when Wissa comes back. I've been calling for Wissa to play on the right wing, to be honest. I know Murphy's again had like a very solid season, but it feels like we still need that goal scoring threat added to the team, and I feel like Walter Marder could maybe slip more into a that kind of creative role. If you look at his build up play and his like link plays, fantastic. He really puts a pass wrong, and he's just going up against all these bruising centre backs, which is a bit of a welcome to the Premier League for him. I think he's starting to feel it, to be honest, in the last couple of games.
Would that, in theory, if Vissa was to be used there hypothetically, does that speak something of what you think of Anthony Elanga's impact so far?
I mean, it speaks for us. Played 17 games, got 0 assists, looks rock bottom and confidence in the Champions League where we had a good game. You could see when he came off, like all of the staff were giving him pep talks. So there is definitely like a confidence issue there. And that's not just on a game day. That must be showing up in training as well. If the staff feel like they need to be getting in his ear every time. There's been calls for the Eddie Howe's not using him correctly, but to be honest, like I've said it previously, I felt like we needed a goal scoring right winger. Was it a panic purchase? Not sure. I feel like he was a target that we've had for a couple of seasons now. I'm just not sure he was the right profile for what we needed. You talk about creativity problems. I think teams that come to St James's Park and when we play away from home, we don't really have the same sort of counter-attacking opportunities that he was really good at Forest, and maybe he was just like wrong profile potentially
Okay.
for us. I think he'll still come good. I think he'll go on a run, but I wouldn't be surprised if we go looking at that position again in a year or two if Murphy gets a bit older. I think he might settle into more of a squad role.
Johnny, when we last spoke to you was before the Manchester derby. I'm going to have a similar conversation to what I actually had with Alex on COTC yesterday. It obviously went your way on that day. We even suggested before that game, if the Manchester derby went wrong and you were 3 defeats from 4, if we were at a question point with kind of Pep of, again, similar to questions to Sai, is this as good as it's going to be? This reaction since then has been pretty good, mate. You're in contention. You must feel you're a challenger now.
Yeah, I think slowly, and then all of a sudden at the weekend, I think, well, the City, everyone else, I think now, and City fans have realised, yeah, we are serious again. I think we've been sort of going under the radar a little bit, like say, since those losses against Brighton and Spurs. And then, yeah, I think, like I say, particularly the win at the weekend has made us think, yeah, we are we are bang up for this.
Okay. What do you make of the new dynamic at the moment we've seen recently? It's kind of overloading of even wide players, even in central areas.
What would you mean with playing
Like Doku is
O'Reilly?
not just holding the touchline, right? He can go into central areas. Cherky is not a winger per se. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I think we're playing to Doku's strengths. Well, I say that I used to think he would just be a touchline winger, but I think he's so good in those little pockets. Shirky is as well. Nunes is Strengths are out wide, holding the width. O'Reilly's turning out to be a bit of a revelation. So yeah, I'm enjoying it.
And unlike this time last year, majority of the squad fit, right?
Yes. And I think the big thing is the one player who's still not fit, Rodri. Um, we have a backup who's more than competent.
I thought he was
Nico,
really good Sunday, Gonzalez.
yeah, he seems to be getting better. Again, going under the radar, not talked about alongside midfielders like Caicedo, Rice, etc. But I think he's tracking really nicely. And I think it's testament to him that this time last year we would have played Rodri on one leg. Whereas I think Rodri's been given the time to get fit. And I think arguably until he is back on top form, I don't think he gets back in ahead of Nico at the moment.
A lot of the takeaway headlines from the weekend would have been with Arsenal not winning, they'd have been worried watching that on Sunday. Do you think they are?
It felt like a bit of a sliding doors weekend, didn't it? And I was out during the Arsenal game. Then when I saw Sunderland equalised, I thought, ooh, that makes tomorrow a lot bigger. Whoever wins is going to lay down a bit of a marker. Um, I think I think the fans probably will be worried just because naturally, how many times we've done it in the past few years. I still think they are favourites. I think they look really strong, obviously, particularly at the back. Um, we're 4 points back still. Um, but yeah, all I say every year is just be in touching distance when we're in March.
I
And
feel I feel like you're a lot more streetwise now, in the sense. I mean, you always got players who play at the top level who know how to win like the big matches and the big things. But there's definitely an emphasis now, I feel, to sit off the ball and not feel the need to control if you've got a cut the goal advantage. We've seen it the last two Sundays, basically.
yeah, I think we've scored. I think it's 5 goals from fast breaks already this season, which is either close to or more than already the same the number of goals we scored from fast breaks last season. So yeah, it does seem to have been a shift. I think we only had 49% possession against Liverpool. There's been a couple of games like that.
And the bloke up front's all right, no?
Yeah, he's such good form, arguably the form of his life. I know we've said that a few times before, but he really just looked to be oozing confidence again. And what's been nice to see is he's been leading from the front. I think criticism of him in the past has been he doesn't throw his weight around that much for someone who's obviously so physical, but he is starting to do that. His build-up play seems to have got a little bit better. Um, yeah, he is back to his best.
Do you reflect on last season now? I think you might have been injured for most of it.
Haaland,
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, maybe because he was struggling.
he was. Like he didn't look great for long periods last season.
Yeah,
Wonder if he might have been carrying something. But he looks completely free. He looks happy. Looks like he's enjoying himself. I
yeah,
think the less intent of possession based football, kind of passing at will stuff, is more beneficial to him in terms of having space. Brilliant
yeah.
example was the goal against Bournemouth.
Yeah, the
Um,
goals. Yeah, and he even missed a third one-on-one, didn't it? It was just so
yep.
nice to see him just played through on the halfway line, and you knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, and that's a consequence of you giving stuff up. And I also think part of the philosophy at the moment is to draw the likes of Foden into kind of deeper phases to help you build up. And everybody in the league wants to press at the moment. If you look at how my team played against you in game week two, like we were really aggressive in the press.
Yeah,
Now, the more you draw a team onto them, if you then break that press, the space for Haaland is obscene.
yeah,
So it's really playing into him at the moment. I assume you own an FPL, Johnny.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I did the switch. I think it was ahead of the Burnley game where I brought him in and triple captained him.
Same. Is he going to be your game week 12 captain? Because I think at the moment there hasn't been enough for many of us to take on in many of the fixtures. We do historically look at a fixture like Newcastle away, and I think it makes us want to look at alternatives. You, as a fan, probably want to still do it, I take it.
Not necessarily. I think I've mellowed on that, just blindly captaining him for my own sort of like enjoyment. I don't know. I think it's a tough one because you do look for alternatives when he has fixtures like this, but I don't. The alternatives don't look amazing this week. Um, I mean, the obvious alternative for me and my team is Saka against Tottenham, but like you've alluded to, Tottenham have been better away from home than at home. Semenyo at home to West Ham, maybe, but I think his form's, I don't know, maybe being harsh tailed off a little bit. Um, so if in doubt, go Haaland might be the play.
If you owned Haaland and Salah, some will.
Remind me who Liverpool have got this weekend.
Forest at home.
Ooh, I think you'd be tempted by that to take Haaland on.
I think if I owned both, or if I was free hitting this week, yeah, I think I would captain Salah. Otherwise, I agree with you. I haven't got enough confidence in United assets as well. I think it's possible at home to Everton, West Ham lower block against Bournemouth. Semenyo wants space. Um, Arsenal will beat us. I'm fairly certain of that. Captain Saka, debatable. Yeah, I'm in the same space, Johnny, where I feel like, yeah, I don't have enough confidence in anything else to feel like to take it on. What about you, Si? Haaland owner, I take it.
Yeah, same. Got him in for game week 6 against Burnley, and been smashing my dad in fantasy every week because he doesn't own him.
Hi, Dad.
He even got rid of Salah like 2 weeks ago, his golden child. So that was great. I enjoyed that. I'm interested to see how Haaland gets on against Malik Chow. Like he has been a rock steady signing for us this season, and every week he seems to, maybe until last week, been putting in better performances, and that this is like the litmus test. I think is can he live with like Haaland's physicality and pace, because he's done such a great job for us, like sliding into the team after doing the usual kind of like sit out for the first few weeks and get used to the league, that this is going to be a massive test. And I think just for that reason, I don't know, I'm definitely looking at other options. I usually don't captain players against Newcastle, and I think I will try and find an option elsewhere. Who that is, I don't know. I've got Saka as well. It doesn't look great, to be honest. It's like as alternatives, maybe Mateta at Wolves. Depends on what he does
Yeah,
for
that's another one.
France.
Yeah, definitely.
Probably might go there. But yeah, it looks a tough week. Are you still on wildcard this week? I'm not sure if I haven't caught up with your
No,
content yet. No.
no. I was looking at potentially bringing it forward to 12, with a big reason behind that being not wanting enough Newcastle and Manchester City assets. But no, I'm delaying till 13 in the hope that over the next week or so I'm going to get convinced, or maybe you two lads can do it for me now. Let's start with some of your assets. Nick Voltamado,
hmm
should he be in an ideal FPL front three or not?
The last time I was on, who it was before Brighton, wasn't it? I mean Sam. And
Yeah.
I made a comment that I felt like he would be good in home games and tick along nicely, and would potentially struggle in away games. Seems like that is the case with him. I know he got an assist just against Brentford. That was, I don't know how took so long for FPL Towers to give that to him, but it feels like you could. He's gone up in price as well. I don't know. I don't know whether you'd. I personally probably wouldn't put him in the front three. You've got Wissa coming back. I think Howe wants to take him out of the team now and give him a bit of a breather. My ideal front three would, if Gordon was fit and actually playing well, would be Gordon, Voltemade in the middle, and Wissa right forward. That's what I would play. I think we need more goals in the team, and more directness. I just think he's a bit of a rotation risk from that point of view. I think he's played too many more minutes so far this season. I don't think he was supposed to play this many. I think he might end up getting like Champions League starts and maybe a couple of rests in the Premier League. I think Howe wants to take him out of the lineup, but can't at the moment. So for that reason, I probably wouldn't. I have him now. I've had him since he basically became available in the game. And it's probably one of the reasons why I'm putting off wildcarding, to be honest, because I think if I was going to wildcard, I would probably take him out, which sounds, I don't know if I would. As a fan, I'd probably keep him in, but I just don't know if the ceiling's there right now and if he's going to get the minutes over this period with Wissa, if he comes back and is fit, and Osula, if he'll still minutes off him as well if he comes back from his ankle injury. So for that reason, I'd have to say probably not.
Who's your other forwards at the moment, just out of interest?
Haaland, Mateta, and Voltemade.
Okay. So Would you deem Mateta as worth paying 0.7 more than Voltemade? Mateta's 8.1. So what I'm saying is, if someone's got Voltemade now and doesn't own Mateta, I guess they're probably looking at the fixtures this week and pretty tempted by that.
This week, yeah. I mean, I think Wildcarders might return this week, but it'll be one. It'll be like a goal. It'll be assist. He's not hauled yet, and it doesn't really look like hauling. I don't think the team the team never really was built to play for Isak, but he's still so good that he managed to like get those big returns. I don't think Walter is kind of in that mold yet. It might come at some point. So depends what you want out of your 7.5, 8 million strike. I think Mateta's got a higher ceiling and he's captainable, and I wouldn't really ever think about captaining Walter, to be honest. I enjoy having him in my team, but for that reason, yeah, I would say probably make the switch, to be honest.
Okay. Does feel like template front three could become Haaland, Mateta, Thiago, who obviously performed against you well at the weekend. I guess similarly, is Voltemade worth a
He was
million
dog
or
shit.
more?
He was dog
Was
shit.
he?
He's dog
Big
shit. He scored.
returns.
He
I've
scored a
compared him to
pen.
Rondon,
Don't do
but
that, mate.
but
Rondon's an
I still
absolute
he played for you,
legend.
but I still want to. Well, yeah, okay. I
He
still
was
want to
he
get.
was bad, but he got the points, which means he's going to be popular. I can see why people would want to go for him, like talisman theory and stuff. Like this tricky one. I guess it comes down to your like preference and playing style. I think Thiago's template third striker pick. So
Okay. Anthony Gordon. We don't quite know where we stand at the moment in terms of injury. I guess anyone who's got would probably sell if, under a circumstance side, that he's ruled out for a significant period. Should we be looking at Harvey Barnes at 6.3?
yeah,
Big nod
same.
for the benefit of those on the audio.
Yes, same as previous seasons. I think he you saw for his goal against West Ham, he's definitely carrying like one of our biggest like goal threats in the team, and I think he's in there. He's in there for that reason, and honestly, should be shooting more. I think he's trying to do too much for the team. He needs to be like the almost like the focal point because Baltimore's not getting shot volume, but Harvey Barnes will. If Gordon's ruled out, I will, and I go wild card. I will probably put him in for that period of this run of games. I think he's a really good pick. The right wing situation is going to be like Murphy starting, and then like a rotation with Elanga as well on certain games. I think they'll come in and out. So, and if not, Harvey Barnes has got a decent shout of playing on the right wing. I think Howe can see that the team is lacking like firepower. So, I think he's probably a sneaky good pick actually. Like form is kind of patchy, but that goal against West Ham I think was enough for me to think about
So
potentially putting
you'd,
him
so
in a
you'd still
wild card.
consider him, even though it's a bit of a risk.
It's a bit of a risk, but like what I mean, unless you're just going to go with like a template boring midfield five, I think you're looking for like some players to spike, and I think
Well,
he's
yeah,
got the
to be honest, I would
potential.
love to be in a position where, I don't wish ill harm for Anthony Gordon, but to land on a wild card and Gordon's out for 6 weeks, yeah, the Harvey Barnes goes right of immediate interest to me, mate. Murphy, I'm not so sold on. I know it's always going to be restricted minutes.
And he was shit against Brentford. Like
Thank you for
very,
that
very poor.
information.
Very poor. Everyone was, but prior to that, I thought he was performing well. But again, I don't know whether he just got a bit complacent now. He feels like Alanga's definitely like behind him in the pecking order and felt like he was all right to lay an egg like he did, but then most of the team did. So there'll be a reaction. I'm almost a bit disappointed that the game is City at home because you will get a reaction, you'll get a performance out of the team anyway. Like I honestly wanted us to go and play like Wolves away or something next to see if Howe's able to fix the problems over the international break. But
Are we overlooking Bruno Guimaraes correctly?
he's another one. I think he's the way that Tonali settled into that number six position. I think like as a sort of long term pick. I mean, I'd love him to be on pens, but I don't think he's very good at them. I don't think that's a
We're assuming
shout. Like,
Voltemade is on them, right?
yeah,
As
yeah,
it would
he'd be on
stand.
them. Yeah, yeah, definitely after his last one that he scored. He would definitely be on the penalty takes and the reasons to keep hold of him. No, I like Bruno as a pick. I think his points are ticking over. He's not quite hitting anywhere near. He's not like someone that you would think would get defcons, even though he's that type of player. It's just not really falling his way. I don't think he's
Yeah,
got
he hit
any
it for the
this
first time at
season.
the weekend.
Did he? Well,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think that was maybe a bit of game stake towards like the end of the game, and before he got taken off, he was like kicking people, um, as he did in injury time. But yeah, he got 10 on, so he's usually in like the kind of like 7 to 10 range. You'd want him, I think, hitting that a bit more frequently to be an option, but like can't really sniff at the attacking returns. 3 goals, 2 assists. It's definitely the most consistent midfielder that we've had this season. So yeah, no, he's a decent shout, and you know he's going to play every game.
Even with some of these European games coming up. I mean, you play Marseille away 3 days after City.
Until we're like securing the next round, so however many points that's needed, I think he'll keep starting these games. Haven't seen enough from Willock. Jacob Ramsey started quite well, but it's faded, and since he's come back in, hasn't really made an impact off the bench. Miley will get games. Tonali's had a few like health issues, but I think like fitness wise, he'll still play the majority. So
Is
no, I'd say Bruno play most of them.
is Lewis Miley an option as an eighth attacker? Someone not to start 4.4? A lot of people looking
Seems
at
to be.
Potts at West Ham who feels more assured of starts.
Yeah, I don't think so. He seems to be getting the Champions League games more than the league ones and the cup games.
Okay. Johnny, you got any Newcastle at the moment?
I don't. Oh no, sorry, I do. I have Nick Pope.
Okay. What's your plans with him? Hold?
Yeah, I put him in on wildcard in game week 8. Took Sanchez out for him, which was a bit umming and ahhing a little bit. Because I'm not surprised Sanchez has kept more clean sheets by him in the short term, but I thought Pope was a better longer term pick. Um, I don't think it's worth changing him, so I imagine he'll be with me for
Si,
a while.
happy with that or any reason for Johnny to sell?
I mean, he also had a stinker at the weekend. Came flapping for a bunch of crosses, so it was his fault for at least one of the goals. I mean, to be fair to him, he was concussed, which is one of the reasons why
Was
I think
was
he
he
wasn't.
concussed at the time of that on the first goal?
Yeah, like
It's not
he
good, mate.
no, so like he should have come off earlier. So the third goal, which was Botman, who also had a lot of stinkers
It was a good
on
day.
the
I got it.
weekend. Yeah, the kind of the thinking is like usually Pope would have come out and would have been all over that at the edge of the box, but he was just a bit kind of like off it, and he's obviously not been called up to England for he's on 12-day concussion protocol now, so can't play in that. I don't think Howe's going to drop him anytime soon. Like Ramsdale has done well in the cups, but like
He'll
I
play in the
don't know. I
cups.
think I think it would take like a proper Rick or like Pope to get a red card and be out the team for a couple of games, and like us to keep a couple of clean sheets. I think for Ramsdale to stay in depends what they want to do with him next year. I think they'd like to keep him and maybe sign him permanently, but it's whether he wants to kind of duke
I
it
think the
out
reports
again.
are that he would like to.
Yeah. I mean, he's been at since leaving Arsenal. I don't think he wants to go back to like a relegation like team again where he'd be first
Well,
choice. So
we did joke in the summer, Si, that
yeah,
now that you'd bought him,
maybe current
he
form. You
does
never know.
he does like a relegation old Aaron Ramsdale. For clarity on Nick Pope, obviously the City game falls into the day 13 after the incident. So as long as he passes the assessment it will get the day before the game, I would assume yes he'll play. But it's worth noting we've seen an example recently with Omar Alderete where he didn't get the clearance. So not a guarantee, but if most people will pass it and he should most probably play. Of the defensive one side, what we like in here then? Are we assuming Lewis Hall starts against Man City now? Is that what we're saying? With Burns
Yeah,
suspended.
he has to. I don't know if Tino is going to be back. He was penciled in to come back after the international break, so that would be good because Trippier also had a stinker at the weekend and couldn't pass to a teammate.
Was
So
there anyone who wasn't smelly on the day? So
no, Chow played quite well, and
okay.
that was about it. Basically, everyone else was pretty horrendous. I think it would. I think it will be. If Tino's fit, I think he might go with Trips and Livramento and keep easing Hall back because he's just had a couple of setbacks. And he's found, I think with Hall, he trusts him once he's in the team and he plays well, but it does take like a little bit extra to get him in the team. I don't understand why. Creativity wise, like he immediately, whenever he plays, is like
He'll
that link
help
up play.
massively.
Like it makes such a difference. It's again, I think a reason why everyone's frustrated and questioning it, like Eddie's reluctance to kind of throw him in. And like defensively, he doesn't seem like a liability either. Like If you're worried about pace, the other option was Dan Burn playing his 50th game of the season already. And it was just, it made no sense as to why he didn't come on earlier. So I do think like the Tino information will kind of dictate the back four. But I would honestly think about going with Chow if you were looking at a Newcastle defender now. He's slightly cheaper than Burn. Burn might drop. He's 5'2", might drop a bit now. He's got that suspension, but Chow seems to have like really locked down that place in the team, and I think he's getting a few DEFCONs in the right sort of matchup. So
He's had
uh,
two away games at Bournemouth and Brentford, who are probably
both,
two of the more direct teams, I would say, in terms of speed and when to get the ball forward.
yeah, I really like him as a player. I like him as a pick. I think he's never really shown like a goal threat, but he does get in the right positions for us. And with Burn playing left back, he tends to take the throw-ins, which creates like another opportunity for a centre back, like from those long throw-ins. And yeah, I think going forward, like he's going to start to earn like a proper reputation. He's back in the Germany squad the first time in a while. I think he's the sort of person that other teams might start looking at if he keeps performing the way he is. And
Okay. What would be your ideal back four? I don't mean specifically for Man City. Everyone's fit, just regularly moving forward week to week. What's your ideal back four for Newcastle?
um, I'd keep Pope in goal. And then right back it would be Livramento, Chow. I mean, Botman's had a bit of a shaky period, so and Howe loves Burn, so he's not going to drop him. So you're going to play Burn left centre back, and then Hall left back. That is
Okay.
England's best two fullbacks. So like the fact that we're not currently like, well, we wouldn't put
Let
him
me
in.
not upset Chelsea fans and say that they're the best two left back options we've got at the moment. Let me say that.
Yeah,
So I guess Chow versus Botman is obvious then. If people wanted that, it's Chow from what you're saying. For Dan Burn owners, sell or keep?
you keep. He
You
needs a
keep.
rest. So like, if
He's
anything, this
getting
is
it.
yeah, exactly. So the
I
only way he's going
guess,
to get it is getting suspended. Al's not going to drop him otherwise.
yeah, I'm guessing, as I said on Monday's pod, I'm guessing Burn owners were probably thinking about benching him this week anyway. I guess the Marseille game on Tuesday will give clues maybe in towards game week 13, right? But certainly acknowledge, and you're not the only Newcastle fan to say it to me, that Howe loves Dan Burn.
Yeah, he will die on the Danburn Hill if he has to.
All
So
right. He might.
yeah,
Johnny, what City you got at the moment, mate?
Just the big man.
Sire, what City you got at the moment?
so
Should we keep him or sell him? What do we reckon, guys? I think it's probably just about a keep at the moment. Would you go him on free hit, by the way? Just out of interest this week.
I don't know what the other fixtures are.
I
One
mean,
of
you
those
could.
weeks where you maybe good one might be a good one to go against.
Well,
But
yeah, I guess what I mean by that is I guess free hitters may think about captain Salah. Do you go the whole way in terms of taking him on, maybe?
oh, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I don't
What
know.
what you
Budget
thinking,
wise,
Johnny?
you probably get both, can you? Quite easily in this
I
league.
under the circumstances at the moment, yes, I don't doubt teams could definitely get both in for one particular week. What you thinking then, Johnny? Because after this trip to Newcastle, Leeds at home, Fulham away, Sunderland at home, Palace away, West Ham at home, Nottingham Forest away, Sunderland away, Chelsea at home, Brighton at home. Like it's good. That's why the Gooners are worried.
Yeah, it's a good run. It's a good run of fixtures, and I think a lot of people, including both you guys, have been eyeing that up. I wanted to wildcard in 13, but ended up getting trigger happy in game week 8. Um, but yeah, Haaland's a lock. Um, and I think after that, I don't think there's anyone who's a guarantee. Um,
Boo.
the thing you were talking about Newcastle having England's best two left backs. I think there's an argument we've got the left back that will start at the World Cup.
Oh, I mean,
Um,
I wouldn't hate that, Johnny. I wouldn't hate that.
O'Reilly's been sensational
Hasn't he?
in
He
the games
really
he's
has.
played this season.
Have you forgotten that you bought eight Nori?
I think Nori has like a bit of a problem. That's the way I've described it. In that currently, like you can't drop O'Reilly. Um, when he went down injured in the 30th minute, I was thinking, oh shit, we cannot bring Nori on here, half fit Nori on against Salah. Um, Yeah, I think he's probably the next, almost like next best pick in FPL for City. Um, I think obviously the obvious argument is Eight Nori going to come and take his position? He's off to the African Cup of Nations in game week 16. Before then, you've got what are the free fixtures before? But I'm just getting them up quickly. Leeds, Fulham, Sunderland.
Here's the thing, he's probably not going to start all of them, isn't it? I know you're
He's
saying you
probably,
can't drop him, but on a week like that, he probably is going to get a break, isn't he?
yeah, Eight Nori's probably going to play one of them before he goes off to AFCON. And then probably the argument that you would make, James, is that well, Vardiol's then the backup to go left back. But I think you can find worse options than him. Just going through the rest of the team, obviously from the attack, Doku is playing incredibly well at the moment, played incredibly against Liverpool, but can you guarantee he'll play every game? No. Savinho in and out of the team. Cherky looked really good against Bournemouth. I said at the start of the season, if you can get him a good run of games, he'll be an option. But he gets hooked on 55 minutes at the weekend. Foden, I think, is the person who's probably going to get the most minutes of all the rest of the attackers, but seems to be playing a bit more of a reserved, sort of like
He's dropping really deep throughout with that build up, as I said.
tempo setter role this season rather than that guy who's getting to the edge of the box shooting. We saw he scored twice against Dortmund though, so he can still do that.
Both
But
long range goals, though, aren't they? It's worth
yeah,
noting. Yeah.
I don't know whether he's worth that price tag given the role that he's playing in the team. Bernardo's the usual sort of like non-FPL asset.
Yeah.
Reinders, obviously big on him at the start of the season. I think he had a lot of credit in the bank from that Wolves game that has slowly sort of ran out now, to the point where he has been taken out for the Premier League games. He looks more suited to the Champions League. He keeps getting chances, but in some games just seem to pass him by a little bit. So I don't think you can rely on him for minutes. I think if anyone's still clinging on to him, I think he is a sell
A
and
sell.
probably
Okay.
was a sell 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm trying to
Oscar
think of
Bob. I had him in my game week 2 free hit team. He did
oh,
nothing, and he's not played the last 2
It
games.
was
Is he
playing.
injured?
We always win there, so we don't win many, but we always win now. Silly that.
he he's been a bit disappointing this season. I think we all love Oscar Bob, but has sort of flattered to deceive a little bit. Really silky player, but he got a bit of criticism from Norway's manager in one of the last international breaks. And yeah, we haven't really managed to sort out that right wing spot because Savinho hasn't been setting the world alight. I think we should have just taken the 70 mil from Tottenham for Savinho. And I think that's probably that lack of option on the right hand side is why it's ended up Shirky playing sort of inverted. Nico Gonzalez, he'll tick on with the Defcons. He nabbed a goal at the
Feels a little
weekend.
much at 5'9", I think.
Yeah, feels a little bit much at 5'9". And then you're into the defenders. I think the centre backs, Vardiol's obviously the one that always gets people excited, but I think while he's at centre back, he's not going to carry that attacking threat that got people so excited in previous seasons. So then it comes down to the fullbacks, and that's why I think O'Reilly is a consideration, and Nunes on the other side, who's been playing really well. To give him credit, I didn't like him, but he has been impressing me. I'm still yet to be fully sold on him because I think he does have a brain fart in him, but he's been getting good minutes and getting assists and goals. And then the big man in net. Obviously, the rule in the past was always if in doubt, go Ederson.
For other people, it never was for me.
Yeah. Donnarumma's been good. He's surprised me as well. I know that was a big topic on the
Mm.
last pod was how do I feel about signing Donnarumma? And there was a little bit I was a little bit
People aren't talking about it. It's
ambivalent
probably the
about
best thing
it.
that you could say. Just like,
Yeah,
oh, he's gone in and he's steady and he's safe. There have obviously been a few clean sheets. There's been four since he come into the team, but it's 6 pointers on every occasion.
yeah,
He's never scored more than two in any week that he hasn't kept a clean sheet. So he does feel like he has been 6 or 2 every week, except the draw at Arsenal. I want to say he might have got booked for time wasting, maybe. I
Yeah.
think might be the reason for that. Um, that feels a lot 5-7 for Donnarumma when it's
Yeah.
that kind of returns. I think in different seasons, Johnny would have probably really liked the look of Ruben Diaz at the moment. He's really consistent at the moment for minutes, and
Yeah.
it probably isn't with Vardiol playing alongside him. Probably isn't justification to put Vardiol above him for 0.3 more. But we know your guys aren't going to pick up defcons, and this game's different now.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you get someone to get 4 points twice. It's the same as a 6 and a 2, isn't it? And that's probably like what a Diaz will be. It's like 6 1 week 2 the next week, same as Donnarumma.
Yeah.
I want to go O'Reilly, Johnny. I've been looking at some drafts for 13 this week, and the intention at the moment is to put him in.
Yeah, so I
Uh,
don't mind it. I think I would as well if I was on wildcard. And I've even been eyeing up a switch to him.
he's played since you lost at Brighton in game week 3, and obviously Donnarumma came into the team in 4. If you look at that period since, he started every game. He's played at least 80 minutes in all the games except one, and you lost it at Villa.
Yeah, him and Doku didn't start down the left-hand side, and we looked a lot better when they came on.
Right. Doku, Johnny, I've always poo-pooed as an asset, but I spoke really highly about him on Friday's weekender with David in a preview for your games, and I'd never been more certain that he would start because on what I'd seen this season, I really felt there was a level up that you could feel was coming. And him in them, I love him in the sanctuaries when he gets it in the sanctuary and starts running because he can go in or out.
He's just so strong.
Yeah,
You just can't get him off the ball, and once he does start running at you, you're right in that he can go both ways. I remember thinking it would be a little bit awkward in there, but he's really exciting playing in that slightly inside role.
the problem is, as I discussed with Suj on Monday, it's like he's done well in a few home games, right? So 10 points against United, 10 points against Burnley, 11 against Liverpool.
Yeah,
But in the 5 games in between, or 4 games in between, sorry, it was 1-1-1-2. And it won't take much more than a couple of ones to go, I've got to bin that immediately.
yeah,
And equally, he's got the same number of attacking returns as Bruno Guimaraes at Newcastle, who I know is going to play every week
yeah,
at a very
yeah,
similar price.
and play 90 because Marmoush looms over Doku's minutes as
So
well.
I pick him over the likes of Guimaraes or Ismail Assar or Declan Rice or similar players here, potentially because of those brilliant fixtures you've got, mate. And
Yeah,
just punt it. I'm looking at them 3 home games, Leeds, Sunderland, West Ham, 13, 15, 17. I wouldn't even mind potentially even setting up to even bench him in the 2 away games, possibly.
yeah,
And then binge straight afterwards. If it's good, maybe continue, but then binge straight afterwards if it's not.
yeah.
Either stand out for you, Johnny, if you bought. Would you have the cojones to potentially buy him, or you think just think beyond that at the moment?
Doku.
Yeah,
Don't know because I've got Paquetá who I need to move away from.
suspended this week as well.
Yeah,
So you want
so
to do
it's
it now?
yeah. I think I need to find another mid-priced midfielder for this week.
I think if you
Um,
look at this week, you look at Saar more than Doku if you don't own, don't you? But the following week, it's
I've probably
probably the
got Sar.
opposite. You've already got, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I hadn't really. Doku's just not really coming to my head because, like you said, of that the inconsistency, as good as he is on his day, and the inconsistent minutes. But um, I think if you're willing to give it a punt, like you say, with the fixtures we've got,
Oh, I
kind
know if he goes in, my expectations are on the floor and he's absolutely a punt. But
I
yeah,
think that's it. Is if you're going for it, know your expectations.
He also might be playing Trippier on that side, so that he'll have him on toast if that's the case. That's
He,
that's a pretty tasty lineup. So I'd probably wait on see if Tino's back or not.
I
Would
think
just be
that's what
the
was
obvious one.
scary at the weekend because Connor Bradley's not a bad defender. I don't think played
he
too
did
bad.
get isolated a lot though. So I can imagine Newcastle play Murphy in this fixture
Yeah,
and give him way more support. Trippier days.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Doku, I need to think about. O'Reilly, I want. City plans for you.
Pretty similar to be honest. I've been taking quite a lot of hits this season, just having a bit of fun with it. And then the last 2 weeks, been banking transfers and now got a bit of paralysis. And how many free transfers you got, James, going into your wildcard 13? Out of interest.
One, if I get through the break with no injuries, I might roll in and
So,
then wild card after possibly.
so I've got three. I think I might go elsewhere for transfers this week, and then if I play the wild card next week, just pile into City. I think I want three. There's classic in it. When you wild card, you want to if you can go from one to three, it feels like you're
It feels
maximizing
like
your
the problem is
chances.
the idea behind 13 always was it's like City, Liverpool, United, and Newcastle, as in Manchester United and then Newcastle United. Those four teams to like really go for. And across the teams, like it doesn't feel like there's a standout with yours, sire. Something like Harvey Barnes might fall in a couple of weeks, maybe, but it doesn't feel like it. Liverpool's it's hard work beyond Van Dijk. United admittedly do have assets there with Bumo. Cunha might become something. Fernandes is consistent. And with yours, Johnny, it's Haaland and there are two players who might be good, but they are definitely not going to play every minute of every game, quite clearly.
Yeah.
That's how it feels.
I'd go in on Newcastle just knowing you've got Spurs and Burnley in 14. So that if you can bench them at Everton away at the moment, like it would be nice to have that Everton fixture now for the reasons I mentioned earlier. But yeah, I would still punt Newcastle. You can easily get away from it. The main problem we've got is our next away fixture is Everton away, and then after that is Sunderland away. So we've basically got one fixture to fucking sort it out, or else. Yeah, if Howe loses the next two games and we don't get max points at home, or we lose badly to City, and he loses that Sunderland game, he's then got Chelsea, Man United away. Um, that's going to get rough. So I'm going to back us to turn this around and back Howe because he always seems to find a way. So I wouldn't. I'd go into it with not confidence, but an opportunistic view on we will pick up points and therefore we will have some FPL assets if you can find the right ones.
See, the main reason I might end up rolling this week rather than buying someone for a 1 week punt is possibly because of yourselves, because I might want two free transfers to go from two Brentford players to two Newcastle players in game week 14. Because I'm not silly. Those home fixtures in 14, 15 are brilliant. Do you know what I'll probably do in 16? Buy back those two Brentford players. Let's finish with correct score predictions. Si.
Going off what happened with Liverpool and Arsenal at home this season and our current predicament, I'll say 2-1 City.
Johnny?
I'm between a 1-1 and a 2-1 City.
Okay.
I'll go 1-1 actually.
Always tough at your place, Si. Gents, thank you both so much. Anything you want to plug, Si?
No, all good. The Isaac Hate Club is still rolling. If you're still doing well, if you want to join.
Probably it's because you're not doing well. You can't say it was much bigger, can you? If Liverpool were doing shit at the moment, you were doing great. You'd be all over it, wouldn't you? Be honest.
That's just all I've got to go on right now is how shit his transfer's been for them. So.
Johnny, anything for yourself, mate?
Just my X account, so FPL Pringle and MCFC Pringle for more City rants.
Good stuff. Thank you both, gents. Very best of luck. There's another clash of correspondence for you next Friday. Brighton versus Brentford with Sam Murray and Tom Med before the game week 12 deadline. Tomorrow, the fan view with Paul Gaught-Allen, Sam Martin, and Matt Samuel talking about last three's relegated clubs not doing great in the championship at the moment. Just leaves me to say, Si, Johnny, thank you both so much. Good luck, gents. Cue music, please, man child.